Perfect. Okay, so welcome back for the second afternoon session. That's going to be about flash talks. We are going to hear 6 flash talks from different scientific communities. And it's going to be about research infrastructures in EOSC, enabling data-driven science across disciplines. And the first flash talk for the topic of community-driven repository for material sciences and engineering, DANTEc, is going to be performed by another dancer. So from yesterday dinner, he promised Vienna Waltz. So Marek Cebecauer, group leader at the Department of Biophysical Chemistry of Institute of Physical Chemistry of Academy of Science, EOSC, of course. So Marek, please, floor is yours, and welcome on the stage.
Thank you very much. And I'm Marek Cebecauer here from EOSC Institute, and I'm speaking here today on behalf of Material Sciences and Engineering community. Completely different from what you heard today, because there is no big player, no infrastructure which would be leading this. There is a community. But before this community happened, in year 2021, I'm sorry for not seeing everything, it's very strong light here up front. The research groups in material sciences and engineering in Czech Republic could be illustrated in this way. They were simply completely separated, and one could even place them in a wild forest, and it probably would not change much. This is probably not perfect illustration. I will take another illustration of the situation in material sciences and engineering in 2021 from Moravian countryside, which better illustrates. So what you could see, there were some collaborations going on, of course. Czech scientists are collaborating, it's good, but still it's very scattered, and there is very little communication in between some of these groups. I don't want to say that they were in ancient stalls and doing science in Czech Republic. This is just an illustration. They very often are in a flashy buildings with the modern instruments, including robotics, but they were not communicating in terms of exchanging data, in changing any knowledge on data management or anything like that. So, luckily, with a huge help of EOSC office and his team, we created working group, Material Sciences and Engineering, and which was founded in 2022. And currently, over these 3 years, we accumulated 63 members from 25 academic institutions, but also other, and you will see later what I mean by other. 63 members sounds a lot for a relatively small country. The active are probably 30, maybe. But still wonderful. If they are not from one institution, it's very good, and that's the case. What we are doing, since the beginning, we are trying to discuss RDM, fair data, open science related issues. And I can say that if you would talk to people in 2022 in our community, hardly anyone knew anything about research data management or fair data. Nowadays, members, the active members of this working group are very well informed, and also again thanks to the EOSC office and the educational center. And our very regular meetings, which are every 2 weeks, so it's very tough to be part of this community because we are meeting almost regularly every 2 weeks. We are also trying to disseminate this knowledge. Again, there is certain gradient between the institutions or organizations. Someone is managing more, someone less. Some institutions are huge, like Charles or Masaryk University, so it's not easy to distribute the information to everyone in every corner. But step by step, we are succeeding. But very important aspect of this of this working group is definition of needs. Okay, first, of course, we looked around, and the wild forest or the Moravian countryside I showed you for Czech community is not very far from the reality in Europe or globally. Yeah, there are some activities, some initiatives, there are some repositories which are pretending to be international. Then if you go deeper into these repositories, you find the data from one institution in Japan, US, everywhere. Metadata standards, every repository has its own, and so on and so on. So we have defined that our needs, we need our repository, we need our metadata model, we need standards to share the data, at least in a Czech Republic, but it would be great if this could be done with keeping in mind international collaboration. And that this is done by harmonization activities, especially by me, because I am Research Data Alliance Ambassador for Material Sciences and Engineering. I'm involved in many activities in Europe, currently in the preparatory phase of the project Materials Commons, which we hope to be the e-infrastructure from the beginning, speaking of e-infrastructure, for data in material sciences and engineering. But let's go back. That was a text, and I have even an illustration what we are doing. And here you could see research infrastructures. Yes, we are community, but we, of course, research infrastructures, we do not have the dominant one, but we have research infrastructures in material sciences and engineering, especially very active Liberates CXI, or MGML, which is also active in physics community, and NTC from Pilsen, and so on and so on. Of course, we have involved universities. CAS is not Chinese Academy of Sciences, but Czech Academy of Sciences. We should consider changing the abbreviation because it's really confusing when you work globally. And importantly, and this is very key for, especially for material sciences and engineering domain, industry. We are lucky. We have first pioneers in our working group from industry, and but this is actually for us one of the priorities. We are now, we started to work on and prepare so-called industry roundtable, because sharing data between researchers is important, of course, but especially when speaking of new innovative materials and so on, it's very important that these data are accessible also for industry. And so this is all connected in the working group. And as you will see in a second, we are also building a repository which will facilitate what I mentioned up to now. And we are connected to the rest of the world, European initiations, Japan, Korea, US, and we try to avoid reinvention of the wheel. So here you have some repositories from which we are learning ontologies, schemas, electronic black books, and tools to automatize systems. I mentioned DANTEc repository. We designed it. So the title is actually wrong. I should say towards community-driven repository DANTEc. Sorry for that. Because this will be built in as a part of the project Open Science 2 of OPIAC EOSC initiative. And we decided to create it as a one instance because it's easier to administer and everything. We will have one system which we can handle. If Herovský is too tired, Pilsen can take over, or Brno University of Technology can take over. The knowledge will be there and we can continue. So we decided to have collections. Of course, one collection, Unitech, will be for more or less everyone, a little bit similar to Catch-all, but with some certain level of domain-specific information. But this is not really what we want, because this is not top-class data. Definitely you will not train, or very difficult to train AI on that data. But we will have other highly specialized collections, mentioned here 4, because we want it to be realistic at the beginning, which will have a very well-defined metadata model or data schemas, which we will be able to, in automated fashion, verify that the data are of high quality. We also have a communities, and these communities are again partners in the project. So we will show how to deal with data, especially in terms of curation, annotation, and so on and so on. And this would be, again, some archive. No, we don't want an archive. We have metadata model, which will be harmonized, especially in Materials Commons. Workflows, including mentioned Open Web Search was showing pipelines. We call it workflows, but it means the same. Fair implementation profiles, but we don't want that the data flow manually into the repository. Then we will have very few data. We are trying to use the tools, electronic lab books. This is where we are active. The 2 are mentioned. I'm also using a word infra tool because we do not have a name. Friends from Brno University of Technology didn't give it that name yet, so I call it infra tool for research infrastructures to handle the data. But importantly, we are connecting it with the biggest repository in Europe, NOMAD, for aggregation, filtering, search, preparation of data for MLAI training and so on, and to connect it to the computational facilities in Czech Republic. This is the picture we prepared. And from October, we have to start working hard, even though we are working constantly on preparatory work already now. Thank you very much for your attention.
So thank you, Marek, for the presentation. And again, we have a time for one question now. So one question from the audience. If we have one. Or Slido. Nothing. Okay, so no, stay there.
I'm not going to dance.
Now you said that putting together the people was the important endeavor, you know.
That was key.
That was the key for the Czech Republic. And you mentioned as well the collaboration with Japan or collaboration with Germany, etc. How you are successful in collaborating with the communities abroad?
Yeah, thanks to I was lucky because there was simply in EOSC Focus was call for RDA ambassadors, and I applied, and my application was terrible, but they were very kind and let me in, and I learned a lot, and with the flag of RDA ambassador, many doors opened. And this is how I managed to get involved in a lot of international activities. But back to your first sentence, the community is the key to the success. I think our ideas and what I showed you is reasonably well accepted in the community of material sciences and engineering researchers. That's totally key.
Okay, so thank you very much once again. Wait. Thank you for your flash talk. Thank you. Let's move to another flash talk. That's going to be about involvement of Czech-BioImaging research infrastructure in EOSC activities. And it's going to be performed by Professor Michal Kozubek, department head at the Center for Biomedical Imaging Analysis at Masaryk University. So, dear Professor, welcome on stage. And please give him welcome. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Michal Kozubek. I come from the Faculty of Informatics of Masaryk University, and I am head of a group called Center for Biomedical Image Analysis. So you can guess what I'm dealing with. Yes, biomedical images. And also I'm vice chair of a national research infrastructure called Czech-BioImaging that deals with biomedical images as well. So first of all, what we are talking about. I mentioned bioimaging or biomedical imaging. So this means two things in one. One thing is biological imaging and the second thing is medical imaging. Biological imaging means microscopy that can be divided into light and electron. And medical imaging can be divided, let's say, into human and animal imaging. Here you can see some examples of images, but you should bear in mind that the images in our field are multidimensional, so not only 2D, but often 3 spatial dimensions. There can be also time dimensions, so you can have longitudinal studies in time. You can have also color dimension, wavelength dimension, so multicolor images like the left one. And you can do really long experiments, for example, for several days or multiple images and multiple views. And the data can be as huge as several terabytes per one experiment in microscopy. Okay, so now research infrastructures. I will start with the European level. So at European level, in bioimaging, we have EuroBioimaging research infrastructure that was created about 15 years ago. And the idea was that the top instruments in this field, like top microscopes or top magnetic resonance scanners, should be concentrated in specialized groups called core facilities, and core facilities should provide open access to these instruments for everybody. And you can order services, of course, paid or partially paid in these core facilities, get access to the top instruments, get your images, and at the end, you might also want to get data services like data storage and analysis services. And ideally, then the user, so biologist or physician, gets some results and goes home with results for publication. Already at the very beginning in 2010, when the initial preparatory phase European project started, there were some key objectives defined for data management. And as you can see, there were some keywords like standardization, and we should have metadata, interoperability, validated tools, data curation, annotation, and so on. So things that we are speaking about today were already considered at that time, but still not everything was solved, and still there are a lot of things to do. Concerning, for example, metadata, there have been some attempts to introduce some standards. For example, in microscopy, there has been a standard called RAMBI published and quite widely adopted. In 2021, the publication appeared. And as you can see, the metadata in microscopy are quite complex because they should cover the biological part, preparation of the sample, cell types, how you stain the cells, the specimen, the image acquisition parameters about instruments used and their settings, as well as possible processing of the data. Based on this RAMBI metadata model, there has been also a storage repository introduced called Bioimage Archive, which is the probably most famous repository in our field. And this Bioimage Archive was published in 2022. Yes, you can store there some images, but there is unfortunately no quality control. So you can store there basically anything, and it's hard to find things there because the RAMBI model was used, but mostly based on free texts. So the individual fields were defined as free text, and based on free texts, it's very hard to find something. Now the situation in our country. In our country we have Czech-BioImaging. Basically the same core facilities are part of both Czech-BioImaging and EuroBioImaging. Mostly Brno and Prague institutions are involved, but also Olomouc and České Budějovice. And it is led by the Institute of Molecular Genetics in Prague. And our role of Center for Biomedical Image Analysis at Masaryk University is data management. So the other institutions provide instruments, while we primarily provide image data services, especially analysis services. The current situation is that the core facilities typically store their data locally at some storages near the instruments or at their institutions, servers on their institutions. Metadata are usually not stored properly. Only, for example, acquisition instruments usually store some acquisition parameters. So the new proposed solution based on collaboration with EOSC is to build two repositories, one for biological image data and one for medical image data. The first one basically in collaboration with in the frame of Open Science 1 project, the other in the frame of Open Science 2 project, as well as some additional tools and metadata storage. The idea is to store there not everything, but only the nice data, so curated, fair data that can be useful for somebody else. Now, in our country, this scheme most of you know, there is a national repository platform being built, and in the frame of the first project, Open Science 1 project, there are 4 so-called pilot repositories, plus additional catch-all repository. And we are actually one of those 4 pilot repositories. So we are already working from this year. And the first version of the biological data repository should be launched already this year, whereas the medical one should be worked on next year. And we didn't want to reinvent the wheel, so we reused the RAMBI model, its last available version, but we decided to replace the free texts that I mentioned with ontologies wherever possible to facilitate search within this data. And we concentrate on the mandatory items for now to start with. In addition, I think for future, the tendency is to process not only the multi-dimensional, but also multimodal data from different modalities. And you can think of processing not only medical imaging and biological imaging data separately, but also to combine it. For example, what you can do is if you study a particular type of tumor, you can take cells of that tumor type and study them under microscope. And you can combine then images and know-how from both biological and medical imaging when studying a particular disease. Also, you can combine it with some non-imaging inputs related to this study. And if you combine everything together and put it into machine, nowadays usually into some AI machine, then you can improve your know-how and improve prevention, diagnosis, treatment. And that's why our vision is that these things should be combined. And we have started with oncology application that is most relevant for us because we have here in Brno, we have Oncology Institute, the largest national oncology institute, hospital called Masaryk Memorial Cancer Institute. And we would like, on the example of oncology images, to start combining all these inputs, which could then serve for prevention, diagnosis, as well as treatment, up to personalized care for patients. So we would like basically to somehow combine the three worlds that most of the time live separately. Those are physicians in hospitals, computer scientists, and biologists. There are usually barriers when they want to communicate between each other. The barriers can be language, of course, they speak different languages, legal issues, technical problems, time, because experts are busy, and also motivation. Some people don't want to change the status quo. So we want to introduce some measures to break these barriers and explain them the advantages of communicating together and building something more to get added value. Currently, in addition to Masaryk Memorial Cancer Institute, there are two Brno hospitals involved, university hospitals, as well as one company, and the project is supported by the Brno municipality as well as South Moravian region. The coordinator is Center for Biomedical Image Analysis, and it's interconnected with three research infrastructures, in addition to Czech-BioImaging, also BBMRI, biobanks, and e-infra. So that's the current status, and I thank you for your attention and welcome the questions.
So thank you for the presentation. And now, firstly, ask Slido. Are there any questions? Okay, so Slido lost the opportunity to ask the question. Any question in the audience? So I have the opportunity to ask. Oh, Marek, good.
Obvious one, medical imaging. Animals are easy, but humans, what is the plan? How to create an active repository with data which are protected because of the personal issues?
Well, in the frame of EOSC, there is a specialized work group for sensitive data. So the colleagues who are working on this repository, they are working together with Zdenka Dudová and people from her working group to solve the issues with sensitive data. And among other things, for example, Masaryk University has launched a so-called sensitive cloud, where sensitive data can be stored legally from, for example, Masaryk Memorial Cancer Institute that I mentioned. So there are contracts with hospitals so that they can legally store data there, and the data can be not only stored but also analyzed in this sensitive cloud environment. So this is, for example, the infrastructure that could be leveraged for this purpose.
Okay, so thank you very much. And once again, thank you for the presentation. And let's move to another flash talk. Thank you, Professor. And here some present. Thank you very much. And we are moving from material sciences and engineering through Czech-BioImaging to GlobalFungi database, the FAIR Global Atlas of Fungi, or fungi. I hope that I am pronouncing it right. And I invite on the stage Head of Laboratory of Environmental Microbiology, Institute of Microbiology of Academy of Science, and a former chair of Grant Agency of the Czech Republic, Petr Baldrian. Please welcome him on the stage.
Thank you very much. So I must say that I will be maybe one exception. I have no connection to EOSC, or no connection yet, let's say. But I have very tight connection to Elixir, and actually what we are now providing to the community and what you will see is possible because of the infrastructure which Elixir Czech Republic represents, and that means that the hardware infrastructure plus some support for data mining is there. But also the motivation is different. It's not about composing data of local origin, as we have seen. I don't personally think that in my field there is some problem with research data, because obviously when you publish in Nature or some good journal, you have to publish all data, you have to make it available, you have to make all code available, so there is no really question how to make data available, it's simply available. Well, the data is available somewhere in repositories. If it is sequences of the DNA molecule, the barcode of life, it looks like that, perhaps with some metadata, and it looks quite sophisticated, but it's unclear whether it's fair. And even if it is findable and accessible, it may be false. If we look at this example, it's just a microbe atlas, which is some supersite which collects all these biological repositories. And I was searching for samples of soil, and it looks like there is a lot of soil in the Atlantic Ocean. So obviously there is something wrong with it, and if you would go for this data, this is not giving you the correct scientific answers. But we really want scientific answers, and the example is from fungi. Due to ecosystem diversity and enormous diversity of fungi, it's impossible to sample everywhere with your own group, although it would be like very interesting to go there. But large data is accumulated, also costly data, I would say, at least in the beginning of sequencing, it was very costly data. And these data are somewhere. And obviously, if the data are of sufficient quality, they can be used to model fungal distribution, and the meta-analysis then offers some big potential to answer an ecological question. So the aim was to collect available data and to see where fungi are. And if we use the metadata on climate, vegetation, and soil and so on, we can perhaps say what drives the occurrence of fungi. So essentially, I said that in our research discipline, all the data or most of the data is public. The papers are there, but still there can be some parts missing, so there is some filtering necessary, and in the end you end up with some papers that are eligible, that contain the minimal information that you need. And this is what we did for the study. But when we did it for the study, we said, well, if it is useful for us, maybe there is someone more clever than us and can ask other questions or better questions. And this was the cornerstone for the GlobalFungi database, to provide the data that we already spent some time with to the global community. So it started in 2019, and until 2023, the last release, it had 5 releases, and we probably cover something like 90% of papers that report fungi from environmental samples, some 900 papers until the 2023, which is 85,000 locations you can imagine, and some 77,000 species of fungi, or you can say 5 billion observations if you just go to the forest and observe the fungus. So we have 5 billion observations like that. You can Google it, you can find it, it's user-friendly, and anyone can use it. And actually, it goes back to the papers, but the starting point is the data, the nucleotide sequence, because we don't know what is the name of each fungus. It can be reclassified, but if we stay with the molecular barcode, the actually red part of DNA sequence, we are quite sure that it was the sequence, and then any reclassification is doable later. And if we combine it with some metadata, we probably can answer some questions with it. So what the database contains, there is the example of Boletus edulis, the king bolete. You can see that from the records, from where the sampling was performed, you can see that it's abundant somewhere, it's less abundant somewhere. And even if you go deeper in the database, you can see that there is one lucky guy that has the king bolete in his garden, and you can see what is the pH of his garden and so on, because he published it. So that's the resolution. You can go the deep. It's covering many habitats. It's covering several sample types. Most of it is soil, but it's also like plant-associated fungi, the fungi in roots and air, the fungi flying around as spores. And essentially, you can query it in many ways. You can go for the exact sequence. The sequence is the basis, as I said. but the sequences are mapped to taxa. So if you are looking for the king bolete, if you want to go mushrooming and want to see where it is, you can enter the name of your favorite fungus and do it. You can browse the studies, or you can simply delimit some area in GeoSearch and see which fungi are there. And we wanted to motivate people to submit their study because we think that all of us like open science and we will do the very minimum to get our data there. But since 2019 was like 3 people who did it, although we did the motivation at every conference. So that's the feeling about open science and how much people want to do for it. So that's it. But now to the science. Really, the big data can give us some interesting insights. So here, with these tiny columns, each column is one fungus. It's the top 500 fungi, and this size of the bar is the amount of explained variation in the distribution. And the variation in distribution is because of something. It's either because of plant productivity, which is the green one, or the soil properties, the brown one, or the climate, which is yellow. And what we can see, many fungi or most fungi are climate sensitive, and this can point to some possible problems. If the climate changes, then maybe the fungi will react somehow. Then one group in Japan and Estonia took our data set and just wanted to see what is the prediction of how the conditions will change in the future and whether it will be more or less favorable for pathogens. And you can see the more red, the more favorable the future climate is for pathogens, the more blue, the less favorable. So it's the number of scenarios that predict increase of pathogens. You can see that most of the world is dark red, which means that most of the climate scenarios mean that there will be more plant pathogens and probably more risk of infecting crops or forest trees and so on. So it's not connected to us anymore. It's just using the data. And if you describe a new species of fungus, maybe you isolated it from it was some infected rodent in this case, you characterize it, you give it a new name, you can get back to the database, and this pale areas is the observations in GlobalFungi, but the red ones means where the fungus was observed, so you instantly know where your fungus is distributed, that it perhaps represents problems not only there in the Czech Republic where it was isolated, but probably it can be also in North America, in different types of substrates. And obviously, if we just map the areas that were sampled, we see many areas that are remote from any sampled location. So this is something which steers future research. And indeed, there is a group called the Underground Explorers, which explore fungi, and they now crowdsource money to make expeditions into these remote areas to fill the picture. So the database is indeed directing the future research priorities and filling the map so that we understand where the research where the fungi are situated and whether they should be protected or not. Thank you.
So thank you very much. And now the question from the audience. Bernd, please. And then we have one from Slido, right? Okay, so we will take 2 here. Bernd.
In your introduction, you mentioned that you're not have a connection to EOSC yet. However, one of the EOS candidate nodes is the life science research node, and there's Elixir included. And so I was wondering if there should not be some connection or how this works.
Well, I don't know how it works. For us, the mining data and maintaining data and annotating the data is costly. It costs money. It costs the human efforts. So we are essentially, if we want to maintain and make the database better, we are searching for funding. If there is some way for funding, we will try it. Obviously, in OS2, there is some many projects that are there. So maybe we have good luck with that. So far, it was mainly academic money that were associated to some science which funded this. But obviously, if we want to maintain creating such a database, it's like time and cost consuming.
Okay, thank you. And the Slido?
Do you involve records from the public to your database? That means, do you support citizen science?
Not really. We are still limited to papers that were published and that publicly deposited data. It's about quality control, and also this barcoding, meaning sequencing, requires some technical steps, and we want to be sure that these steps were done correctly, and this has to be described somewhere. So at the moment, it's like that. Invite everyone to browse, and actually when we launched this atlas, I had a call from Radio Blaník where the people should go mushrooming on the weekend near to Benešov in central Bohemia. So it's open to anyone, but it's not very well compatible to citizen science because it is like molecular marker based, and that's what people don't produce typically.
Okay, so thank you once again. And thank you very much for the flash talk. Okay, so moving from life sciences basically to humanities, and I would like to invite Head of Department of Information Sources and Landscape Archaeology at Institute of Archaeology of Academy of Science, Mr. David Novák, with his speech, Integrating Domain Repository for Archaeological Data into National Data Infrastructure, a case study of fruitful synergy. And I would say that David is the man who loves metadata and graphs. So welcome on stage and enjoy the talk.
Thank you for kind introduction, and I'm really happy to have an opportunity to present to you our approach to data management in archaeology. So I will be speaking about what is done in the framework of the research infrastructure archaeological information system of the Czech Republic, which is listed on the national roadmap. It is handled by the two institutes of archaeology, one in Prague and the second one here in Brno, both affiliated with the Czech Academy of Sciences. And what I'm every time trying to stress that this infrastructure is not only about the data and the hardware, but it's especially about the teams around, because this is what like creates the expertise and what's keeping things going. And actually, I feel that that part is one of the most important one, because this is what just keeps the continuity and sustainability of all the work we are doing. What we actually do is that we are trying to provide some digital workflows for archaeology to handle especially the legal responsibilities the individual fieldwork organizations have. So we are balancing somewhere in between primary research and heritage management. What is actually connected to the very specific role the institutes of archaeology have in the Czech legal system, being the research institutes, but as well have some cultural heritage management obligations. So we are serving not only researchers, we are serving different stakeholders, including developers announcing their construction projects. We are serving heritage managers. We are as well targeting the general public a lot. And one of our like basic aims is to archive data, especially because archaeology data, when removed from the field, are extremely valuable, as they are repeatable. The situation which is extracted from the terrain cannot be reconstructed any other way than using the data we collect in the field. We also try to represent the community itself, because as being the research infrastructure means that we have the tools which the individual organizations doesn't have, and we feel that as a big responsibility for us, and try to develop the standards related to handling the data and all the workflows related to this. So what we created is a relatively complex system which stems from long-term projects and long-term evolution at the institutes. And our data sets now comprise of the hundreds of thousands of different types of records. Some of them are connected to the fieldwork projects. They are also, of course, connected to documents and the data sets which are produced throughout the fieldwork. So And we try to connect all that together into some information system which is available to provide as much comprehensive information as possible on the Czech archaeology. As well, the systems are somehow connected then to the international environment, where we try to provide the data aggregated on the international level, which I will mention a bit later. The core of the system is formed by the three components, or the main one is called archaeological map of the Czech Republic, which serves as a main interface for collecting the data and handling all the workflows. The second part is called archaeological map digital archive, which is basically a discovery service for common users. And the third part is the APIs related to our databases, which offers the data in some machine readable form and being able to reuse them in many ways. Here you can see the interface of the archaeological map of the Czech Republic, where the individual users from different organizations try to usually on the daily basis put the new information on the archaeological fieldwork, upload their data sets, and so on. This is the interface of the digital archive, when you can like browse what have been already ingested into the system. To mention, all the data we have stems from really long-term digitization of the data we handle since 19th century. So actually it is also something about digitizing the physical archives and putting them online. And the third part, as I mentioned, is the API, which provides the data in some standardized formats to be able to browse to it in the data. All that is connected to even the wider complex of tools and services which are aimed for different audiences. We have something like Archaeological Atlas aimed for the public. We have even a tool for facilitated collaboration with the citizen scientists, providing us with the information on their finds, usually made by metal detecting, and so on. So there are plenty of tools affiliated to the AIS which are being sustained under the infrastructure. If we take a look into the technological background of the archaeological map, you can see that it is a Django-based application which is used as a way to feed the data into the Postgres database with Fedora repository system as the basis for storing the data for the long term. Fedora is based on the OCFL, so Oxford Common File Layout standard, which is like I think very promising way how to store the data and structure them on the basic level. The digital archive itself index the data from the Fedora repository to Solar Index and providing this data to the users in the different interface. The separation of the ingest and process and the discovery service is very beneficial for us, because we can better orchestrate everything. We can assign the proper resources, and as well the unavailability of one service doesn't mean that the other cannot run. So the modular way how we are building the system is something what turned out to be a good decision in many occasions. Based on the Solar Index, the API is also running. It is OAI PMH API, so it is practically prepared for being the point to be harvested, not only for EOSC related services, but as well for other services we are already providing the data. Currently it is, for example, Ariadne International Infrastructure for Archaeology Data. It is also Europeana and some other users who are trying to integrate our data into their systems. We as well, what is specific about our implementation of OAI-PMH that we are also using basic auth to somehow tire the access to even to the metadata provided through the OAI-PMH, because in case of archaeology, there are some parts of the data which are sensitive, especially locations of some specific sites or finds. As we are speaking today mostly about verification and connection with the EOSC, I try to summarize somehow how we try to facilitate and reuse what is available through EOSC CZ. As you can see, we already have our repository system registered in Re3 data, and we hope it to be registered in the National Repository Catalog. We are members of the National DOI Center or consortia, which is used to assign PIDs to our data sets. We provide rich metadata, which should be in future integrated into the National Metadata Directory. Then we provide individual pages and landing pages to make the metadata accessible. We use some recognized protocols. We will implement Infra AI to integrate with some wider AI system used in EOSC CZ and probably even in the European version of EOSC. So this is something what is planned. We use some long-term preservation to keep everything running for the long-term and accessible. In the interoperability level, we definitely want to align everything with core Czech core metadata model, which will be needed to be ingested into the National Metadata Directory. And we hope that we will use data specker to as well provide the specification of our own internal metadata profile, which we use for, or metadata model we use for our data. We hope to provide cosified vocabularies because we already have some controlled vocabularies in our system. We provide them via our APIs, but they are not still cosified, so this is something to do. We want to as well make much more use of ORCIDs and Wikidata IDs to especially align the information on the individual persons which are in different roles registered in our system. And then about reusability, so far we use some domain-specific metadata standards. Actually, it's not standards per de jure, but it's standard de facto because at least at the national level, because we are, as I said, we are obliged to handle the cultural heritage management in archaeology. So we are able to set up some basic rules, what and when should be given to us. This is like creating a bit like comfort zone for us, but still it is something what is needed to be developed even in the international environment and aligned with it, which is being done, especially in some international projects which we are part of. And then there are those things like licensing and provenance tracking, which is something what we are trying to do, but definitely we can do better if, especially with some support given from EOSC. And what we plan to do is to specify our policy using FIP profile, which is something what EOSC plans to do. To mention the last thing, we already, as I said, trying to assign PIDs. As you can see, our metadata model is very complex. It's based in the complex database, and also the system of PIDs we need to use is relatively complex. So far we are assigning DOIs to the datasets we have. We are as well assigning international generic sample numbers to the individual finds we have registered in the system. It seems that we are relatively successful using the datasite metadata profile to provide the information because just this week, or it was last week maybe, I received some accidental email about someone trying to play with our data, and he provided me with that graph that when comparing with the other datasets, we have very complete metadata and very useful for the people outside. So it was very encouraging for us to see that. Thank you very much. That's everything from me.
So thank you very much for the presentation. And now a question from Slido. Do we have a question from Slido? So from the audience? Okay. Patrick Mraz, please.
Thank you, David, for a very nice presentation. So in your database system, they are objects from other institutions, and if so, do you have some agreement or contract how to publicly display this data outside?
Thank you for the question. Yes, exactly. Actually, we handle the data from about 100 individual organizations providing data, and we have the licensing agreement with every one of them stating that we can provide their data further. It is a bit like complex issue, but so far we at least reached the agreement that CC BY and C license is okay for everyone. And hopefully in future we will be able to open it even more, for example, at least removing the non-commercial assignment.
Okay, thank you. And I have maybe one more question, kind of practical, how we can imagine a modern archaeologist, you have the hammer and tablet, or how this works with this database?
Yeah, actually it's a combination. You usually have not the hammer, but usually a pickaxe, and then you have the tablet in the other hand. Yeah, so it's the combination, as you say, and maybe some 3D scanner or something like that as well.
Yeah. And you can mix the hands and put the hammer to the tablet, right? That's the usual stuff, how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much once again. Thank you very much. Okay, so moving forward, fifth flash talk, we are moving to social sciences, bridging disciplines with data, social sciences contribution to the EOSC ecosystem. And I invite to the stage Ilona Trtíková, the specialist at Czech Social Science Data Archive, Institute of Sociology of Czech Academy of Sciences, and the person very enthusiastic about FIP profiles. So Ilona, please come on the stage, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction. And thank you, David, for his slide with the fair. So I think that everybody took a picture, and I think that is very important for us and tips also. But go back to my presentation. I want to introduce social sciences, our contribution to EOSC system. My colleague, Dr. Jana Leontieva, has introduced CSDA, Czech Social Data Archive, its role in CESDA and impact in sociology. So just now I can end my presentation because everything is said. But what I want to focus is in our plans and what we prepare in next project, because we want to deepen, make more deep collaboration with other disciplines in social sciences, because it's not only sociology where we more that our data where is in the data archive we have a lot of data from sociology, but we want to be more open and also invite colleagues from economics, geography, demography, or tourism. So from this discipline, they have a lot of valuable data, but of course they haven't resources to deposit and share this data. It has a lot of reasons. One of the reasons that they have no resource, or they don't know where to deposit, or beyond of Zenodo or Google services. So it is what is want to change. And when we started prepare the Open Science 2 project, we started at the Institute of Sociology leads working group for social science. And there we have a lot of discussion about what our community needs and about requirements. So it is on this discussion we write this projects. It was a lot of fun because social sciences don't care where deposit data. They need data. So all our discussion ends, okay, we don't care where to deposit. We need data, I don't know, statistical, or from another project. So we have a lot of discussion of this. So this is why we focus not only how make data fair and not only on this, but it is of course very important. But we focus in another more topics and services. For us, it's very important data management, or what we use is, for example, AI. We plan how to use AI and find ways how to protect our respondent identity, how to, because we want this, how to respond identity to be data from, to be data, research data can be deposit on our catalog. So there is a lot of questions on the there is also a list of involved institutions. So we are happy that we are a lot of good and very big partners. So we are looking forward and we are very happy. Okay, our built infrastructure is contains from 3 main components. The first of all is our data catalog. Then we built a new repository for sensitive data, and first of all is and last of all is the third part is Data Hub. Of course, all this solution will develop with FAIR standards, metadata models, and of course on CESDA's requirements. We use DDI metadata standards, so it is something what is for us quite important. We develop in we plan to use the Dataverse system, which is one of the most used repository system in CESDA data archives. So we migrate this our system to National Repository Platform resources. I have to say that it's for us a big help because we hope that we increase capacity. We will have better security and system replication. Of course, we plan to implement AI. And also, as I mentioned, we want to be more open for another disciplines. So we, with our partner from project, prepare new data collection from their projects. And of course, we want to care of new types of data. For example, a synthetic data, which is quite something new, quite expensive to prepare. So it is one of this collection will be on synthetic data. And of course, all data will be fair, and not only new one, but we want to also verification of older data, which just now is available in data catalog. Sensitive data is very high, big topic in social sciences because we have a lot of quite research with sensitive data. So we are very happy that we have opportunity to build repository and all system how to make accessible this valuable data. We use for this system in Venio. So we our colleagues from Open Science One project prepare for us in Venio, and together we will build the new repository. Policy we will be set with the collaboration with sensitive data working group. So we are very, yes, Zdenka, thank you. So it will be nice collaboration. And yeah, so. Okay. And the third part is Data Hub. Data Hub is a system managed by Faculty of Science. They are focused on geography and demography. So they contain maps and geospatial data sets. It means that this data layer, maybe David again would have know more, but it just be very nice. I think it be very interesting because they need special workers for verification. But it's very useful source for scientists. As I mentioned, we are not focused only to deposit data, but also we want to bring new tools and services. So we prepare visualization tool for time series, social science data, as training and guidelines for fair data management. About AI, I've just said. And what is it's quite interesting, Czech demographic database, where we want to make accessible data on fertility, mortality, migration, and structure. So there we will some question about legal question and about how we can make it free for another use. And yes, so we have a lot of plans. It brings a lot of challenges and of course a lot of opportunities because we want to make EOSC as a benefit, not just an obligation in meaning that you have to deposit data and you have some tools for filling your data management plans, but we want to improve research work and make researcher life a little bit easier and helpful and make reaction for their needs and requirements. So, thank you very much. It was really flash talks.
So thank you very much. And now please the question from the room. Anyone?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Just the last slide or one before the last, with the demographic databases, how this relates to the census data. It is the census data, census sčítání lidu.
Okay. Yes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I know that the census data are usually highly protected and
yes,
very limited way to access them. I mean, if we are within Europe, if we are outside Europe, it's completely different. They are used much wider, but here.
But it's
Because so I was asking how this, for example, how this kind of data are really collected, if it is not census data.
No, but it is kind of this data because we want to find the way how can we make it accessible. So we want, because we have experts in our group, so I hope that we find this
working with this kind of data.
Yeah.
Because I have heard years ago that in UK they have a special institution which is biasing and I would say distorting the census data to be available to scientists, and scientists devise methods how to de-bias the data they are getting from the census institution. So I think that it would be fine if we can use EOSC not to do such craziness.
No, don't worry, it's nothing. But it's something, this kind of data is very, requirements from our science community. So it's something we need. So we are looking for ways how to do it, or if possible, we don't know. So,
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Moment. Another question from the Slido.
Yes, the question is, central banks and the EU Stat Office are exchanging data URL addresses due to the risk of exploitation by OpenAI. How to keep the economic data reusable?
Okay. I'm sorry, today it's not my colleagues, so I'm not sure that I can answer this question. So maybe ask me next year.
Yeah. Or send it to the Czech Social Data Archive, the question,
Yes.
and we will put it for your colleagues, right?
Yes.
We will forward it. Okay, so once again, thank you very much. And thank you very much. Perfect. Perfect. So, and last but not least, we are going to hear a flash talk about data management and CENAKVA large research infrastructure by Jaromír Kovárník, the data steward at CENAKVA, University of South Bohemia in České Budějovice, and he supports research in fishery and aquatic ecosystem. So actually, after many years, last weekend I went fishing, and I have caught carp, the largest carp in my life, So I'm looking forward. Where should I put the data about it? Thank you very much, and welcome him on our stage.
Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon. And yes, something about our large research infrastructure, CENAKVA. We are connected with Faculty of Fishery and Protection of Waters at University of South Bohemia, České Budějovice. Main focus are research and education in freshwater fishery and aquaculture. And we are unique because we are Europe's leading institution in the field of freshwater fishery and aquaculture. It looks, this is aerial photography of our area. We have 40 hectares of experimental ponds, and our colleagues, they keep large, unique sturgeon gene bank. It means it's alive fishes and froze cells too. Our research is branched to 4 research programs. First is focus on reproduction and genetics. Second is focused on new pollutants. Other is focused on sustainable aquaculture, and last is connected or linked with global changes, especially climate change. Our research team, they produced quite different data sets, especially video or image data sets can be large, and sometimes it's hard to solve how to manage it and especially open it. Some research team, especially for toxicology or genetics, they have special formats of their data sets, and yes, again, they produce big data sets. And some research team or our laboratories, they solve the data management in various ways, like on these slides. Some are very common, and some are maybe specific from NASDIS. One laboratory, they have own cluster. Same laboratory develop their own laboratory electronic notebook, which is called BioVS, and they use it. We are starting testing other electronic laboratory notebook, eLab, but now we are promoting these laboratory notebooks to our research teams. And yeah, we still promoting CESNET solution for sharing data sets between research teams and members. Also, we manage or create a workflow for our researchers for creating projects. We start at the beginning of project proposal and go through the whole life of a project. How we communicate some news in open science. Typically, it's personal communication. We make lectures and training for students and for colleagues, researchers. Periodically send some news in by mail, and also we have at faculty and at the university special web pages, and also we participate on international event like Open Access Week. Now, how we open our data sets, typically on Zenodo, when we have community. Some research teams, for example, genetics, they use specific repositories, and some research team also use other storages which aren't 100% fair. Typically, this storages isn't provide permanent identifiers, but it's wide known in this research community, and provide open access. When we talk about open access, about open data, I spoke before, and what's about open access in our infrastructure. CENAKVA provides access to its capacity for experts from outside, and typically the researcher, they can create their projects, send to CENAKVA office, and wait for acceptation. And after that, they can run his project in our laboratories. How we are connected with EOSC CZ? We are active in 2 work groups. First is Enviro group. Second is biohealth and food. Big question at our universities, creating institutional repository, but there is several questions, and it's under construction. And yeah, we would like be a partner or cooperate with Masaryk University on a repository for toxicological datasets. We collaborate with other partners, especially at S3. We are a member of Danubius research infrastructure and Alter research infrastructure, and now, but it's still in progress, Genophoenix. In these infrastructures, big task is creating data management and how to share data sets, and after that open these data sets. And CENAKVA is part of solving team of this task. Thank you for the attention.
Okay, thank you very much. And do we have any question on Slido or audience? So if not, I will ask. So if I understand it well, there is the Feedipedia, and I should put the data about the carp there, right? You mentioned it on one of the slides, like feedipedia.org or something like that, about experiments with fish. No? No, it wasn't. Okay, so don't worry, don't worry.
No, it's not repository, but I think you mean
Can I? Sorry.
Yeah. Yes, you mean it's a website when some researchers could upload his data, but it's from feeding experiments.
Oh, feeding. So not, it's like that you are fishing, so you are...
No, because when you breed fish, you must feed it, and there is a big question how and how efficient.
Okay, so understanding. Thank you very much once again, and just wait a minute. Just thank you very much for the presentation. Okay, so basically Flash Talks are over. That means that we are almost over. I will put this here. So a few words to conclude the day. So we have the... So I start talking, and you can already start scanning this QR code. You know, it's about the feedback that I mentioned in the morning. So basically, who we are, because we are heading to the informal networking, and we have to go back. So basically, we are 256 registration from 66 organizations. So if you remember the presentation of Matěj Antol during the policy panel, he was mentioning that basically in the EOSC there are approximately 70 organizations involved, you know. So we are really engaged in this conference because we are covering almost all of this organization as well, here in Brno or online. That's one thing. Then the question, who we are we librarians, are we data scientists? And, oh, sorry, it's some sort of loop there, but don't worry. So there are 60 researchers and scientists and academics registered to this conference. So it is not a support conference, it's really becoming the scientific conference. So this is an important message of all. So you can see the information. Thank you very much for the map and for the data that was provided by our analytical team. So then I will end up with this slide, and please scan the QR code for the feedback. And I would like to, oh, sorry. Yeah, I will try to put it. You have to be quick. Okay, so I would like to, after a few minutes, we are going to be heading downstairs for the informal networking, and please enjoy it, talk to colleagues, and enjoy the evening. But before that, I would like to ask Professor Matiska to give the final conclusion words for this first day of EOSC, and to support my colleagues Patrick and Marek in dancing. So now I'm going to dance myself out from the podium till tomorrow, and I pass the word to Professor Matiska. So bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Jiří for the maître de conférence for the whole day. So thank you very much. My thanks also go to the people who are invisible or almost invisible, but who do all the background work for the projection, for sharing the data and everything. And my thanks to all of you who survived till the end of the first day. And I hope that you will be able to survive also the networking event and survive the night in Brno. It's in Brno, don't forget. And then we can reconvene again and meet again tomorrow morning. I hope that you enjoyed the conference, that you got something from the keynote, from the policy-oriented panel and the discussion which was led by Jan Hrušák, and also from this afternoon showing you some hints and plenties how the interaction between the infrastructures and EOSC is ongoing. So thank you very much for coming. Now we prepared with also help of our sponsor, who is the Computers. I am like with any sport event, I'm doing it here. We have some networking consummation downstairs, as Jiří said. So please enjoy, stay with us also for at least a beginning of the evening. Enjoy the networking, speak with other people here, use the opportunity to discuss whatever you want, including the Brno night. And once again, thank you very much and see you all tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much.